Okay, once again, good evening, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to go over a few ground rules with everyone. As a participant in this webinar, you will not be visible. So again, you will not be visible to others. Only the name that you have provided Zoom will be visible. All participants have been muted. So if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and wait to be acknowledged. We do ask that you save all questions until the end of the presentation, and that is the overall presentation for the panelists. Participants may use the chat feature, and actually that has been changed for purposes of this webinar to keep things organized. The chat feature has been disabled, and we are now utilizing the Q&A feature. So that way it'll keep all your questions organized for me so that I won't miss anyone and we can get through all of the questions from our audience members. So we are definitely going to try our best to get through all of the questions during today's webinar. Please note some of your questions may be answered later in the presentation, so we ask that you please be patient and just wait till the end. Also, we value your feedback. So if you register for this webinar, you will receive all of the shared supplemental information via email, along with a link to a brief electronic survey later this week. So we ask that you please take 2 to 3 minutes of your time to complete this survey. We'd love to hear from you to hear how we're doing. So at this time, I'm going to ask all of the panelists to please turn on their cameras, and we will do formal introductions. So joining us today, we have Janet Keeler from Cuyahoga DD. Janet Keeler is the Division Manager of Community Development. From Adaptive Sports, we have Program Manager Brooke Keeler. From Beck Center, we have the Director of Education, Ed Gallagher. From Empower Sports, we have the Executive Director, Tom Hines. And from Rec to Connect, we have the Program Director, Erin Witchey. And last but definitely not least, we have Youth Challenge. And from Youth Challenge, we have the Athletics Coordinator, Jimmy Abraham. So welcome to all of our panelists, and thank you for joining us. To get things started, we are going to start first with Janet Keeler, who has a special message for us about some good things that are happening at Cuyahoga DD. So take it away, Janet.
Ashley, thank you so much. Thank you for all of our panelists that are here today. And thank you for I'm going to sneak and look, 42 people that we have tuned in today. I hope that we've got something really exciting to talk about regarding leisure, recreation, camp, and arts. So just a little bit about community development and how that supports the board's mission. So as Ashley said, I am the Division Manager of Community Development. And as such, my role is to oversee the board's workforce development team, right, that goes out and educates and engages businesses to hire individuals with developmental disabilities. I also oversee the community development staff, really pertaining to today. We go out and we find and help organizations to develop adaptive, accessible, and inclusive programming and services. And specifically today, we're going to talk about the leisure recreation opportunities. And finally, after we develop all those great things in the community, we have a team of community access specialists that work to train people with developmental disabilities to safely access these work and recreation opportunities by RTA training, Uber and Lyft training, simply safely walking or biking in your community. And really the highest volume referrals we get now are to help people get their temporary driver's permit. So all of these you can see are in support of the board's mission, right, to support and empower people with developmental disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in their community. And Ashley, you can go to the next slide for me. In support of that mission, our board has 4 strategic goals, and they are to help people have access to the needed supports and to make sure that those supports are person-centered and quality, and that people are supported by innovative solutions and ideas, and that people recognize the board as valuable. And you'll see Ashley just highlighted, people are supported with innovative solutions and options. And that's really what we're here to talk about today, is in the spirit of inclusion everybody, the board believes, should have access and fully participate in the community, right where they're welcomed, included, supported, and even celebrated. And we believe this is the foundation of inclusion. So Ashley, if you could click one more time. Specific to leisure recreation, the Board of Developmental Disabilities and my division spent an awful lot of time in 2020 and so far in 2021 communicating and talking to and developing relationships with our recreation centers in Cuyahoga County and with our recreation providers in Cuyahoga County to find out what type of adaptive programming they were doing, right? Prior to COVID, during COVID, like what was happening out there in the community and what the barriers were to providing more of that. And really, it was interesting. The providers and the rec centers let us know that finances were a big barrier. And if we just had some more money, we'd be able to do some more programming. So in response to that, the board published a request for proposals and awarded $150,000 to 14 different recreation centers and providers so they would expand their accessible services, right? They said we needed some monies and we provided those finances. Those rec providers and rec centers said, gosh, even if we had money, we don't have the expertise to be able to know how to make things adaptive. So in response to that, we knew the board had specialists. We have speech and language pathologists, OT, PTs. We have a lot of internal expertise in that. But even more important, we are connecting any interested recreation center with the 4 recreation providers who are on our panel today. These 4 are the premier organizations in Cuyahoga County providing adaptive programming, right? So you can no longer say that a lack of expertise, it's a very easy barrier to remove. And finally, recreation centers also said, gosh, if we had money and expertise, but we don't know how to market to the people who are interested in this adaptive and accessible programming. And so that's what I'd like to talk a little bit about today is how we at the board are interested in connecting those great providers and all of those great opportunities. How do we put those in the hands of the people who want to take advantage of it? So one more slide, Ashley. What I'd like to share with you a little bit more information is on shared virtual community. It's our guide to inclusive places, jobs, and events. So we have developed a user-friendly and interactive way to identify and access a variety of resources in the community. We will maintain a shared virtual community that will allow individuals with disabilities to better connect to recreation activities, employment, and other desired community resources. And right, this is different than just Googling someplace, right? You can use your phone or your laptop to Google something. But we know that inclusion requires all places in the community to welcome people of all abilities and all backgrounds. All means all, right? Cuyahoga DD created some guidance for organizations to make sure that they're welcoming of all people and that they're able to provide inclusion in their activities, in their programs, and their events. We're committed to using shared virtual community to highlight only those organizations and only those opportunities that have met this criteria. So individuals and families and providers and caregivers can feel comfortable in visiting these places. Upon successful evidence of meeting this guidance, Cuyahoga DD will provide businesses with an all means all window, door decal, electronic copies of this to highlight their business's commitment to inclusion to the greater community. We'll also promote via our website and shared virtual community all businesses that achieve this level of commitment as it strengthens our collective desire to be a more inclusive community and a more inclusive society. So Ashley, what I'd love you to be able to do is let me share my screen. And I would love to walk this group through what is on our website now. So what you will see here is the live website that we have at cuyahogaBDD.org. And you will see in this top carousel here, a link to shared virtual community. You'll also find it, I'm going to go slow so you can see it's also located here at the bottom of our main website page. And all you have to do is click right on that. It'll take you to our homepage of Shared Virtual Community. This first paragraph really talks about the board's commitment to inclusion, and I shared some of this information just a couple minutes ago. It also talks about all means all and our commitment to making sure that the businesses that are on Shared Virtual Community meet the all means all criteria. If you're interested in what that criteria is, it can be found right here at the bottom. For the sake of today's presentation, I won't go into all of that. Please visit that because it does really talk about the specific criteria that the businesses have to meet to be able to be on Shared Virtual Community. What you see here is a link to all of the recreation and leisure opportunities that have met those criteria. Keep coming back to this. Every day we'll be adding new things. Sometime in later 2021, there'll be 2 links here, one for leisure and recreation and also one for employment. So if you're interested in finding out which businesses have hired and are hiring and are interested in hiring folks with developmental disabilities, that link will be right here. All of those job leads from the businesses that are out there who have expressed an interest in hiring will be found right here. So stay tuned for that in later 2021. But I'd like to take you right here through leisure recreation and show you what opportunities we've built. We know that the easiest and most organic way to search for things are by both images and text. So we have here images that represent sports, recreation, and exercise. We'll have all the libraries in here that have inclusive opportunities, arts and entertainment, things like movie theaters, things like the art museums, social clubs and volunteering, right? Every Thursday I want to meet for a book club, or every Wednesday I meet to have a young adult social group. Those will all fall in here. These will be special events. Again, keep in mind, these will all be adaptive and accessible. So these will be special events that happen around Cuyahoga County, parks and playgrounds, food, shopping, and services. So if you're interested in, for example, a place to get your haircut that has experience with sensory issues or has experience with other types of challenges, then those will all be found here. Sometimes we're just interested in looking for something that's free. And so every activity from all of these 9 buckets that are of no charge can be found here. And if you actually have your location on your phone or on your iPad or on your laptop turned on, this section right here will populate the closest opportunity in all of these 9 buckets will be the first thing you see, and then the farthest thing away from your current location will be the last thing that you see. So sometimes people just might be interested in like what's nearby me, and then that's how you would use this sort of functionality right here. We launched this just over 2 weeks ago. We know there's a ton more things that we're excited to put in here. We've launched it with about, I'd say 50 to 60 things in here right now. We're so excited to be able to share hundreds more, but we're in the process of adding those right now. Special events will be launched starting in September, but I'll walk you through just one of these little sections so you could see what you could envision. So sports, recreation, and exercise. What you'll see here in this section are agencies and organizations that have met shared virtual community criteria and all means all criteria. You'll see them all in here. They all have inclusive, adaptive, accessible services and programming, all here in alphabetical order. I don't want to go too fast because sometimes scrolling too fast is not good, but I'll give you an example of, let's find, let's see, how about Collinwood? So Collinwood Resource and Recreation Center is one of the 22 City of Cleveland Recreation and Resource Centers. And if you click on that, it will take you to their specific shared virtual community page. Eventually, it'll have a description as of what Cleveland would like to say about their Collinwood Rec Center. It'll have an address. There's your contact person. If you'd like to go directly to the website, you can click here. If you have your location on and you'd like to find directions, you could click right here. And then what you'd find here for every single entry in shared virtual community is what that specific center or provider has, and then which specific ones are accessible and adaptive. So you'll see here at Collinwood, while they have adult water aerobics, those are not an adaptive amenity, but these other things that they have are. And so you'll have a better idea of when I go to the website or when I go to visit the center, which things there are adaptive and accessible. I'll shoot into one more here just so you could see. Let's see. Let's try 3 trackers. And you'll see they have a description. There's an address, a contact, and you'll see the things down here, the things that this particular provider offers, and all 4 of the things that they offer are accessible and adaptive. Again, access to the website, access to getting directions. So we think this is a great way to connect people with the opportunities that we're developing. We've got staff that are doing this, like I said, daily. So there's always going to be new things in here. Once events get populated, you'll be able to look at a calendar and pick things by date or pick things by text. Once that date is passed, those things will roll off, and then you'll be able to continue to follow things by calendar. So we think this is a great way to be able to highlight what's going on in Cuyahoga County. You'll see right here is my contact information. So if you know a business that's inclusive and should be highlighted on shared virtual community, please let me know. We will outreach to them and get them in shared virtual community. Or if you know someone that an agency that needs support or resources to be more inclusive, please reach out to me, and we will again reach out to those businesses to help them be more inclusive. So thank you, Ashley, for giving me the time to talk a little bit about that. At the end of all of our presentations, I'd be love to take questions.
Thank you so much, Janet. A lot of helpful information there. I'm really excited about our new shared virtual community. Up next, we have from Adaptive Sports, we have Program Manager Brooke Keeler. So welcome, Brooke.
Thank you so much. Ashley, it's not letting me start my video on my end. Are you able to control that?
To start the video, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. That's because I was, go ahead and try again. Brooke, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, there we go.
All right. So once again, welcome, Brooke, from Adaptive Sports.
All right, so I will just pull up my... All right, I'll pull up my presentation. All right, thank you again for having me today. My name is Brooke Keeler. I'm a program manager with Esports, Ohio, and I'll just start off by providing a little background information about our organization. We're a nonprofit that provides a variety based in interscholastic adaptive sports throughout Ohio. We were founded in 2009 by Lisa Followay, and the idea for the organization is really inspired by her son Casey, who was born with spina bifida. As a young kid, Casey always loved sports growing up, was always super as a child. And once Lisa realized the immense benefits that adaptive sports provided Casey, she felt that other individuals with disabilities should have that same opportunity to experience those benefits. So that's really how we were born. Our mission is to remove barriers from individuals with physical disabilities have a chance to play and utilize sports to elevate ability and empower futures. We are in Ohio, but we do have satellite offices in both Cleveland and Youngstown, as well as programs at both locations. We have active in 6 different counties across Ohio, and through interscholastic and our annual summer camp, reaches statewide. A common question we get is who are adaptive sports for? Some of the sports do have stricter requirements, but in general, our adaptive sports programs are for individuals with a physical disability that would limit their ability to participate in a typical sport. So some common examples of different disability types in our program include spina bifida, cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, muscular dystrophy, and many, many others. And a common misconception about a lot of our programs is that you have to be an everyday wheelchair user to participate. Even a lot of our students use manual sports chairs to play. You do not have to be an everyday wheelchair user to play, and many of our athletes are everyday users. And then another common question we get is what kind of adaptive sports are out there? Really think of a typical sport that you're interested in or like. That sport either has been or can be adapted by either adding a piece of equipment or by modifying a playing rule. So there are really a tremendous number of opportunities out there. We do offer a pretty wide range of adaptive sports, and we like to divide these up into two different categories. Community-based programs, which in general are open to all ages and disabilities. And then with each of these programs, we offer recreational opportunities for people that just want to come play, to have fun, to meet people, maybe to get some exercise. And for many of the sports, we also offer competitive travel on travel teams. So we'll travel to different tournaments and to compete. With any of our programs, we provide all of the equipment that is necessary to play. So one barrier on that high cost of equipment. And then the sports do vary by location. So I have sports there in that list: sled hockey, power soccer, wheelchair basketball, hand cycling, and wheelchair tennis. Those are that are currently offering in Cleveland or plan to offer here within the next year. And then our other scholastic programs, these are school-based opportunities that allow students with disabilities to compete and represent for their school teams. We have worked with several school districts around the state to implement wheelchair basketball teams in their districts, and that program can be expanded every year. And then we also help students get involved on their track and field teams. So we provide both coaches trainings and athlete trainings prior to the season, and we loan out equipment for that as well. Today, I'm primarily going to focus on community-based sports, specifically within the Cleveland area. So we'll offer sled hockey, and with all of these sports, for the most part, the rules are very similar and they're played very similar to the typical version of the sport. So with sled hockey, it's played 6 versus 6. Really, the biggest difference is that players will sit in a sled. You can kind of see that in the picture here, and we'll use 2 sticks that have spikes on the ends of them to pull across the ice. And by using 2 sticks, this also allows players to pass and shoot the puck ambidextrously. And so with our sled hockey program, we do have an adult and a junior travel team, but we also offer opportunities with that. So practices once a week. That'll likely be starting later in September or early October. And later on this winter, we'll offer wheelchair basketball. Again, played similar to typical basketball. We just use chairs. With this program, it is strictly recreational. So we call these drop-in sessions. So we'll have sessions to get together and we'll run through some drills and then spend most of the time playing a pickup basketball game. Other spring and summer programs, a very popular one in the Cleveland area for us is hand cycling. Hand cycles are very similar to bicycles. You just pedal with your hands instead of your feet. The types of hand cycles, which can also cater to many different disabilities. So throughout the spring and summer months, we will offer several opportunities for clinics where you can sign up for a time slot and use one of our hand cycles for about an hour or so. And then we'll also offer wheelchair tennis in the summer. Again, played similar to typical tennis. The main difference is that the tennis ball is allowed to bounce twice before it needs to be hit back over the net, and played in either a manual sports chair or a power chair. So again, we'll offer weekly sessions throughout the summer for that. And then rounding out our spring and summer programs is power wheelchair soccer. This is a really neat sport because it's kind of team sport that's designed specifically for power chair users. So it's played 4 versus 4 and uses our 13-inch soccer ball. And you can see the guards on the ends of these power chairs. Players use these guards to kick that 13-inch soccer ball on trying to score a goal. So we do also have a competitive level for that, but have recreational players as well. And then the final program that I want to highlight is our Adaptive Summer Camp. So this is for youth ages 7 to 18 with a physical disability. And with this summer camp, we allow campers to try out a number of adaptive sports, including wheelchair basketball, wheelchair softball, track and field. And we also provide those typical summer camp experiences. So kayaking, campfire dance, even a dance course. So it's a really neat opportunity for kids. And we're penciled in next summer for July 8th and 10th. It does take place at Recreation Unlimited, which is in Ashley, Ohio, just north of Columbus. We do offer transportation to and from Recreation Unlimited from each one of our offices. So that's not a barrier there. So definitely recommend passing that information along to any kids you think would be interested. And then that's really all. I just wanted to provide my contact information here. Again, my name is Keeler, and so listed my email and then our office phone. I definitely encourage you to check out our website, adaptivesportsohio.org. There's a lot of great information on there, and all the programs that we offer. And then we're on social media. I'm very active on Facebook, so I recommend you follow us there to keep all of our present events. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And once again, this is Brooke Keeler from Adaptive Sports. So again, we'll have this information that we will get out to you all later this week with all this information. So you don't have to rush to jot down the information on this slide. We will get it to you. So if you could stop sharing your screen, Brooke, and then we'll go ahead and moving right along. We have Ed Gallagher, who is the Director of Education from the Beck Center. So I'm going to go ahead and put my screen back up here, and we'll keep going.
Fabulous. Thanks, Ashley. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate the opportunity to share what each of our organizations are doing. And I am Director of Education at Beck Center for the Arts in Lakewood. For those of you that don't know us, we're close to a 90-year-old institution. We were founded as a theater, which for many people know us for our theatrical performances. One of the most prolific and eclectic professional theaters in the region. So we'll go to the next slide. Thanks, Ashley. And our mission at Beck Center is to inspire, enrich, and transform lives through dynamic arts experiences. So tonight, I'm going to fill you in on all that we have to offer, both on the adapted and therapeutic side, plus all of our programming that has over 200 classes on a weekly basis. So the next slide just has a quick snapshot of what is Beck Center. And at Beck Center, just to give you that the information through the fire hose, as people like to say. So we have our professional theater. Our professional theater produces 7 theatrical performances a year on our main stage and in our studio theater. And the other side of the programming, which I am part of, is the education program. And in education, we have dance, music, theater, visual arts, education programs. We have an outreach program for field trips, and we also have creative arts therapies, which I'll take the deeper dive into in just a few minutes. Our program, in a nutshell, has approximately 200 classes a week on our campus, and then through our creative arts therapies program and our outreach program, we take it out into the community. So all told, In this last year, we served about 3,000 folks, I should say pre-pandemic, 3,000 folks on a weekly basis, both in the community and on our campus at Beck Center. And in our campus, we have 3 buildings. One is dedicated to creative arts therapies and a dance studio in that space. Our main building has a number of art classrooms, 2 stages, and 3 dance studios. And our music and dance building has 1 large recital hall where we do theatrical performances, dance classes, and 15 music studios. So I just want to give you that big picture all in all. So in our next slide, a quick glimpse of Beck is one of the top 5 largest performing arts center in Greater Cleveland, one of the largest employers of teaching artists in the region, and our 89th season begins next September. So our first program is our dance program that I'll talk about. And sorry, we'll go one more slide. I got ahead of myself. Thanks, Ashley. So our dance program is the largest of all of our education opportunities. And the one thing I do like with the All Means All program, of course, is everything that it stands for. And one of the things I'm proud of at Beck is that we have classes pretty much for everybody, interest level, ages, ability, and even the goals that each person, whether it be a young person, some of the goals that their parents may have for them, or even adults that are coming to us. So we really try and meet people where they are, make programs as success-oriented as possible, and let them create their own art experiences, we like to say. So our dance program is rooted in ballet, the Russian style of ballet. So we have ballet and point, and then off of there we have tap, jazz, hip hop, and contemporary dance. The ladies on the right side of the screen are part of our dance workshop, and they perform in a number of venues each year, usually doing a Nutcracker or holiday show in the winter, and then one in the spring. And one of the things that we're very proud of is that we were the first organization to offer sensory-friendly performances in the ballet category. So we hope to be going back to that this coming year. So again, I'm sure many of you know all about the sensory-friendly end of things, and it's really all about being as welcoming as possible. Between the fidgets and ear and sound limiting headphones, we want to make it as accessible as possible for audience members. Plus, we also do some in-servicing with our students to let them know what they might expect, how to deal through that, and really that they're there to put on the best possible show for anybody that might be in the audience. So, and dance, I believe this fall we'll have 70 dance classes per week. So on the next slide in our music program, we do a lot of voice and piano at Beck Center. And again, we have students of all abilities, interest levels, attention spans that come to us in our music lessons. And everything from the early childhood in the center picture that you see, we do a lot of piano, a lot of voice, and also a lot of strings, as you see with the young lady with the fabulous blue violin. And, in there, we're really focusing on their musical development and progressing forward with those musical skills. Our teachers are always ready to go to make it work in the best possible way for anyone that is with them. In our next program in theater education, one of our favorite stars is in the bottom right-hand corner. Rory O'Malley played King George in Hamilton on Broadway for a bit of time, so I always like to share his story. But the great part with theater education for us is it is completely process oriented. Some of our students don't even audition for our shows. Many of them do, but some just want to hone those skills that can be used for different things throughout their lives. Some, of course, are parents bringing them, of course, to the classroom, where so many people talk about the ability to learn those skills of communication, having to vamp and be improvisational, make eye contact, work as a team, all come through theater education. And then the last of our core programs is visual arts. We have everything from cartooning, drawing, and painting to pottery and ceramics. And one of the highlights of the year is our student exhibit, which is called Budding to Blossoming. And in that program, all of our students, regardless of age or ability, take part in that exhibition. And that includes individuals that take part in our Creative Arts Therapies program, which is coming up in 2 slides. So the next slide is our outreach program. And we welcome students from around the region. Pre-pandemic times, again, we usually service 40 to 50 plus schools on a regular basis throughout the year to come take part in our art sampler, where they can do dance like you see there on the screen in a dance studio. We take them into the pottery studio to really dig in, get their hands dirty with the clay. And even in theater, we'll take them up onto the stage to do improvisational theater as well. We want everyone to experience the arts, not just in the classroom, but in a real live, a real live place for them to really dance on that marley floor, use the bars, and have the mirrors in front of them. Is a great example. And then the last slide that I'm going to dwell on for a few minutes is our Creative Arts Therapies program. And we work with kids and adults with a wide range of disabilities. Everything from folks who are living on the autism spectrum, those with Down syndrome, learning disabilities, pretty much any area that someone has some special need that we can use music or art therapy as the vehicle to assist them in communication, academic, motor, emotional, or social skill areas. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which has my text on it. And in our programming, we offer individual sessions in music and art therapy. So we'll address those communication, academic, motor, emotional, social skills. In our therapy programs, we will do goals and objectives, provide written reports for families and organizations at the end of each semester or as needed, sometimes once a year, sometimes 3 year does it for them. We will use guitar, piano, ukulele, violin, drum sets, and any other musical instrument or musical thing that we can put our hands on to both advance musical skills and all those non-musical skills as well in the music world. And in art therapy, just like in our visual arts program, we'll pull on every type of art form within the visual arts realm to address those skills. We offer contractual services throughout the region. As we head into this fall, we look to be servicing 30-ish organizations, early childhood centers, whether they be family-owned for-profits or church-run organizations. We serve as music and arts specialists in those programs. But from the therapy end of things, we work, for instance, at Elyria High School in their special ed program, and we service every age range in the Lakewood City schools, from preschool through their high school, working with their kids in special ed. We have adapted classes and lessons in dance, music, theater, and visual arts. So those are the folks that don't need, aren't interested in goals and objectives and the data that comes with therapy, but they need someone that has the training in the background to teach any of those art forms, again, to maximize someone's potential and their skill level. So adapted classes and lessons, we have art makers and music makers. Those are adult classes for folks with disabilities. And then we also offer consultation services to organizations that maybe they're not ready to bring in an art or music therapist. We can at least give some ideas on how those art forms can be used. Some of the questions that we get all the time is financial assistance available? And yes, it is. I oversee that program. So if someone has a need or is interested in receiving financial assistance, they can reach out to me through my email, which will be on a slide in just a moment. And of course, we do accept funding from the county board, from NEON, and from some other organizations as well. We do not currently receive any funds through third-party healthcare providers, unfortunately. On the next slide, we are currently in the process of doing some major renovation. I don't have any of those pictures in any of these slides, but we just redid our visual arts area, and starting on Monday, our creative arts therapy space will begin an overhaul, which will be done by January 1st with some new session rooms, more accessible restrooms, some additional power assist doors, and some other great things that will help make those sessions a little bit more accessible for folks with disabilities. So you can skip 2 slides, Ashley. And there is my contact information and Jessica McGrath, who's our Assistant Director of Education. Her information as well. We're happy to answer any questions, take a tour, do assessments, or even just have someone, try us out for a few sessions to make sure that there's a good fit, because that's always very, very important that whoever comes to one of our sessions, it's a good fit for everybody. So there's Beck Center in a nutshell. I welcome anyone to come take that visit and learn some more about what we do at the Beck Center. So thanks, Ashley. I hope that covered all the bases for everybody.
Yes, thank you so much, Ed.
Great.
Very informative about the Beck Center. I've been there before, and you guys have a beautiful campus.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you. I'll have to take you up on that, especially with all the stuff I've just learned about the Beck Center and what you guys have to offer. I'm definitely going to have to check it out. Up next, we have from Empower Sports, the Executive Director, Tom Hines. So I want to welcome Tom to planting seeds. So Tom, are you there?
I'm here. Let me try to start my video. I think, Ashley, I might need you to allow me. Here, let's see.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. And here I am.
So welcome, Tom.
It's good to be here. And first of all, Janet and Ashley, thank you so much for this opportunity. Really cool to be able to come on and from my basement here, from my evil dungeon, to share what we do with you guys. And Ashley, just, I shared my slides today, I think about 5 days too late. So my apologies. Great opportunity. And to all of you, I think we said, close to 50 participants in the audience. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight. Thanks for being here. Great opportunity to share what we do. So go ahead and skip this is a nice, pretty slide that I made with some pictures, but really not a lot to do with that. So Empower Sports was founded on the principle that we wanted to provide sports for people with disabilities and really meet the participants and their families at their needs. When we started our first program in 2011, before we put it up for registration and showed up at the gym, we spoke to some other organizations that have worked in this space for years and had a lot of success. And kind of the repetitive question was like, what's going to look like, and who are you going to have involved? Is it going to be for kids with autism? Is it going to be for adults? Is it going to be for people with wheelchairs? And our answer, because it wasn't researched and because we didn't know what we were doing, was, of course, everyone's welcome. We're just going to try to make something work and adapt the program on a case-by-case basis. And we're just going to bring diverse groups together and play sports, because sports is that universal language, one of the universal language, kind of like ed and art and performance, another universal language, things that bring diverse people together and bind them over a shared experience. So when we started our first program, that was kind of the principle, was that we would create something that welcomed kids, adults, intellectual disabilities, hearing, gross motor, visual. If it's a wheelchair participant, we were going to make the program work for each and every participant to the best of our abilities. And I'm proud that even though that was maybe a little bit naive, that's still a guiding principle of what we do. So every program that we do, and it's evolved in so many ways over the course of the last decade, our answer to any family, to any group that's interested in participating is just give it a try, because we don't know what the wonderful thing about Cleveland is. There are so many good organizations that are providing similar but diverse programs, and there's no harm in trying all of them and finding what that right fit is for your athlete. So our vision, kind of the box that you can never check off the list, would be that we reach any athlete that ever wants to play and was left out. So any kid, whether it's for socioeconomic background, circumstances, or disability, or what have you, is reached with a program that impacts their lives. And then a big component of what we do is we try to integrate typically developing peers through our volunteer channel. So we want to shatter any false stereotypes that many people hold about what it means to live with a disability, and just show the humanity of our athletes, to realize these are people that you can befriend and have a relationship with. And if we can create greater empathy in our community through sports and shared experience, then that's something that we're trying to do a little bit every day. So on to the next slide. Just 1,000-foot view of our programs. First and foremost, we offer team sports. So that would be basketball, softball, soccer, football. We started lacrosse last year, which was terrifying. We're putting sticks in people's hands and let them whip a projectile at each other, but it actually worked out real well. So the programs are fully inclusive. Again, that's our mantra. We stand by that. Any age, any disability diagnosis, any ability level, everyone is welcome. Through these programs, we're going to do basic skill development. So we want to equip the players with the basic skills that you need to participate in the game, and maybe just a really cursory understanding of the rules and how the game is supposed to be played. But more importantly, we want the kids to be active and to engage with the game and the other participants. And integration is key for us too. So in our team sports, we invite, and this is maybe more so pre-pandemic, and hopefully if there's ever a post-pandemic, what we will do is invite various high school or business volunteer groups to come in at the different sites where we offer programs. And to our kids and our athletes, they get a schedule at the beginning of the season that lists all the teams that they're going to play against. And for them, that's like a real team and game environment experience. And that's all the excitement that comes along with being on a team. And every week they get amped to, who are we going to play and who are we going to beat this week? But the magic is what we do is we intermix the teams. So it's not the Harlem Globetrotters model. We're not having our teams against these teams and asking the volunteers to simply let us win and put on a charade. We intermix the teams because we want to create and foster relationships between the different groups of people. We want the games to be managed by the volunteers who are involved, and we found that model to be more conducive to building relationships and just running more fun games and creating greater relationships. So that's kind of our team sport model. And then we also do some exercise and wellness programs in individual sports. So last year, believe it or not, was actually a good year for us to experiment with some new sports and different things. We started a golf program last year. Golf is a game that our athletes can enjoy for their lifetime, but it's a game that comes with a lot of nuance and how do you play and how do you make a tee time and when do you show up and what's the etiquette. So we initiated a golf program to introduce some of those basic skills and get the kids on the course. And then we've done personal training exercise classes. These are circuit training that are a little bit more involved with the physical fitness. We care so much about the socialization and emotional development of the participants through the program. The fitness classes are a little bit more aggressive in that we get parents talking to us about, hey, my child needs to lose weight, or I want them to be a little bit healthier. So in those personal training classes, we do push the groups pretty hard. They work out hard. And then this year we also initiated, as Janet alluded to, is with some of the funding that was provided by the board, we're able to initiate a yoga program, which was really cool. The most important thing is we just want exercise and kind of the fitness programs to be more accessible. So pre-pandemic, our exercise classes were a focus area. We were trying to increase those opportunities across the county and in all of the places that we do programming. Those classes have slowed down a little bit, but hopefully soon we'll be back on track with more of those opportunities. And just a really brief overview of where we have programs. We try to kind of surround the city of Cleveland. So we've got stuff in the east suburbs, especially in Cuyahoga County, west Lakewood, Rocky River out to Westlake, and we'll be starting programming in Lorain County this year. And then south of the city, so Independence, Broadview Heights, as well as programs in Summit and Medina County. So we try to make, it's important to us that the programs are accessible geographically for people coming from various parts of the city. If we could just skip to the next slide. So again, to reiterate some of the values on why we do this, we're a non-competitive program. We want kids of any age and any disability diagnosis to feel welcome and feel like they have a chance to play. We care far more about the social and emotional development of the kids, and when we talk to our parents and try to survey and see if we're being effective in our goals, those are the things that we prioritize. We want to make sure that teamwork is first and foremost, so that whether you're the most talented kid or someone that's just starting out, you feel valued, you feel an important part of the team, and you have a really fulfilling experience. We want it to be fun. Sports are supposed to be fun. A lot of times that's lost in the competitive aspect of sports, but to us, we try to strip that away and really emphasize the fun part of it. We want to shatter those stereotypes by integrating typically developing peers. So what we hope to do in a microcosm of our programs is create greater empathy, because a lot of times what you have is the volunteers that are coming to interact with the kids and play, they might recognize one of these kids like, hey, I've seen you walking around the halls of the high school, but now you have a shared experience to connect over, you know that person's name. So what we hope is we create greater empathy and relationships that spin out of the program. Kids with disabilities and adults with disabilities so frequently, I think, are just lonely and don't get invited to enough things. And if we can foster more relationships amongst our families and the people that participate, but also with the volunteers, and that those relationships, extend outside of the program, then we're doing our job in a small way. And then the last kind of important value to us is that programs are extremely accessible, completely accessible financially. Our fees are nominal and non-mandatory. So the programs are $30 for a full 10-week session. And if anyone ever has any challenges in meeting that fee, we offer partial scholarships and full scholarships. The program experience is not changed. We don't take anything away. We don't say, hey, you can play, but we're not going to be able to give you a jersey. The experience is the same, whether you can pay the full $30 or $0. And we're able to do that thanks to the generous support of the county board this year and all of the other foundations and businesses that sponsor our programs. And that's a hallmark for us. The day we have to raise program fees is the day we stop doing this. It's just important to us that the programs are affordable and accessible to everyone, geographically and financially. I have included a video, but Ashley, I think in everyone's best interest, I know people may have questions, and we've got two other great organizations to hear from. And with these slides being available, that video link on the bottom there, feel free, anyone that wants to just see the programs in action and kind of maybe get a better feel for who we actually are, better than I can tell you in the Zoom room here, to go ahead and watch that video. But just so we can keep things moving forward, I'll pass it over
a little time if you're okay with that. I think we have time.
Sure, it's up to you and to the rest of the panel here.
Sure, let's see what we can do here.
The little things in life are easy to take for granted. Like getting away from the kids for grown-up time.
When you play sports, we always make friends easily.
It's really cool, fun. We work as a team.
I love it. My body loves it.
Our main focus is to use sports as a way to improve self-confidence, help people develop communication skills, provide a platform for people to have community and make new friends, because at the end of the day, that's what sports are all about.
No matter how young or old they are, there's always going to be a place for kids and adults with special needs within power sports.
Get your kids involved.
Definitely.
It's a quality of life, friendships, and the fun.
Friendship is always number one.
Always. You can give a thumbs up. Yeah.
Always perseverance means don't give up.
Right. You ever give up?
No.
There you have that. There's some of the kids in action, some of our favorite superstars doing their thing. But I think I've also included on our slides here, our social media, our website, our phone number is there. And that phone number is a farce. I'm not going to lie to you guys. You dial that phone number, you hit extension 1, it's going to bounce to my cell phone. So you can call me at 3 a.m. Today, and I am going to answer it. So if you want to talk to someone else on our staff, you can rifle through the the different extensions. You're going to get to us any time of day or night. We love hearing from new people, from new volunteers, program participants. Reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you.
Tom, thank you so much. Again, Tom, Executive Director from Empower Sports. Wonderful. Thank you. Up next, we have Erin Witchey, Program Director from Rec to Connect.
Hey, thank you, Ashley. So I'm Erin and I work with Rec to Connect. You can go ahead and go to our next slide. So our program started in 2009 with our director, Jen Knott. She started with 2 families. We provide recreational therapy programs. We also do aquatic therapy. If you're not familiar with recreational therapy, basically the goal of our program is to use recreation and leisure opportunities, programs like basketball, swimming, fitness, to improve the quality of life as well as foster communication and community within our families and all of our participants. We have programming throughout the Cleveland area on the east side, west side, and kind of south in Seven Hills. We also do our aquatic therapy and adapted aquatics programs out of the Shaw JCC in Akron. So we're kind of all over the northeastern Ohio area. We a lot of times work hand in hand with OT, PT, speech professionals to help carry over skills from other programs that our clients may be in. The mission of our organization is to connect people with special needs and their families to community recreation, wellness, lifetime leisure skills through innovative recreation therapy programming. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So in our program, we would try to address both recreational and therapeutic needs. We do that through working on goals in our programs. A lot of times, most of our programs, we use an assessment to set goals that are individually based for each client. A lot of times those involve things like range of motion, balance, improving strengthening, endurance, communication skills, providing sensory integration opportunities, helping to practice these skills and like swimming in community settings. We also look at recreational needs. We want our programs to provide our clients with an opportunity for self-determination, to look at programs, to learn about different recreational and leisure opportunities in the community and decide what they enjoy, what works best for them. We want to increase awareness of other programs in our community, as well as increase overall health and wellness for our clients. You can go ahead and go to our next slide. We provide several different programs, and over the next slides, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we start in our programming, as well as about our individual programs. I feel like this slide kind of tells you a lot about different programs, but the majority of our programs are based either at the Seven Hills Recreation Center in Seven Hills, the Gemini Center in Fairview Park, the Mandel JCC in Beechwood, and the Shaw JCC in Akron. We also provide a program at Youth Challenge in Westlake, and we're very thankful for that. And then we also do a few different programs in the community at various locations throughout the year. You can go ahead and do the next slide. So our therapy process starts with an individualized assessment. When you fill out an application into our program, it provides us with basic information about the child or adult that you're enrolling into our program. From there, we conduct a standardized assessment, either in the pool if it's for one of our aquatics programs, or on land if it's for one of our programs like our fitness or our bike programs. Based on that assessment, typically an individual is placed specifically into a program depending on their score and their overall needs. That assessment also helps us to set individualized goals for a client. So we know, hey, this person needs to work on balance. This person needs to improve their upper body strength, especially on their left side, or especially, their motor grip. So our assessment provides us with those very specific individualized goals. From there, our program is very individualized. If they're in one of our therapy programs, either aquatic therapy or our bike program or one-on-one recreational therapy programs, we work on those goals weekly. So we look at those needs, we address those goals weekly through various activities and exercises in each of those programs. We document and each of the the progress of each of those goals. Once a client displays mastery in that, we move on to a new goal. We also reassess every year to make sure our clients are moving on, that they're moving up when it's appropriate into other programs. I think that kind of covers our assessment slide, so you can move on to the next program slide. As I said, our Bike Connect is a program that we do start with that standardized assessment. When we assess for the Bike Connect, we look at both what a client needs to be able to successfully ride a bike, as well as what other goals and skills may assist them in that. So maybe someone's biggest challenge is balance. So we address that both by practicing balance on a bike or an adaptive bike, as well as through other exercises and activities in that program. The Bike Connect at the moment is offered in good weather. We offer that at the Youth Challenge in Westlake. They graciously let us use their parking lot. For that program, we're looking for some indoor program space to be able to continue this program year round, but at the moment it's kind of a spring to fall offering. And so that's typically one-on-one. We do offer some group and paired sessions for that. You can go ahead and move to the next slide. Our Aquatics program kind of spans the gamut. We have a very large spectrum of programs that we provide. As I said, going into our adaptive or our Aquatics program, we do start every client with an individualized assessment to make sure that the program that they're placed in is appropriate for their needs. So some clients start in our Aquatic Therapy program, where we work on a lot of different goals, like I mentioned before, range of motion, strengthening, endurance, as well as building on basic swim safety skills. We reassess every year. Some clients go directly into our adapted aquatics program based on that initial assessment. Some of our participants work through our program, and as they are reassessed every year, are able to move into our adapted aquatics program. Adapted aquatics is more swimming based, so it may have one or two therapeutic goals like building endurance or continuing strengthening, but overall you're working more on swim strokes, advancing swim skills, working on skills that will allow you to move into some of our other adapted programs, like a paired swimming session or a small group lesson, or eventually our adapted swim team, which is another of our aquatic therapy programs. So you can go ahead and move to the next slide. Our group programming has taken some different directions this year. So some of our classes that we've offered in the past, we're working on bringing back. We have two group recreational therapy programs that we've offered for younger children in the past. Our Connect and Move and Connect and Play classes, where we work on group social and motor skills. Those are two programs we're not currently offering, but we're hoping to be able to bring back and offer again in the fall. So if you head up to our website, hopefully we'll have more information about those specific programs shortly, but those programs are for 3 to 5-year-olds and 6 to 10-year-olds. You can move to the next slide. Our hiking club is a program that we started last year. This is for a variety of ages, but our program meets in various locations in some of our Cleveland metro parks that we're very lucky to have in this area. We have some great parks. They do some different activities like yoga and stretching, doing different games, and then they hike a trail weekly. This program is a little bit weather dependent, but they do meet weekly on Thursdays. And right now, most of the hikes are all in the Rocky River Reservation. You can move to the next slide. Our Razor Sharks is the adapted swim team I mentioned before. We have teams on the east side at, I believe right now they're practicing at the, in Garfield Heights. Sorry, some of our locations just changed, but at Garfield Heights. We also offer this program at the Seven Hills Recreation Center and at the Gemini Center in Fairview Park. This program meets weekly for either a 45-minute or hour-long class, and it runs pretty similar to a typical swim team program. Some of our drills and things may be adapted or individualized depending on the needs of the swimmers, but overall, we are a USA swim team, and we were this year able to go to some USA swim matches with our with several of our swimmers. So that's been kind of a cool addition to this program in the last year or so. You can go ahead and move to the next slide. Our Fit Friends is a group fitness class that meets weekly. This is offered at the Seven Hills Recreation Center. It is for those who are 15 years old and up. So they do a variety of different exercises, use a lot of different equipment each week, just kind of exploring what each person needs as well, and focusing on strength, endurance, range of motion, and building those exercise skills. It's also a great opportunity to start learning about different exercise programs in a recreation center, being able to go and access this class in a recreation center. A lot of our clients are able to do that on their own, so they can go and eventually start working towards being able to go into a typical rec center class. You can move to the next slide. Yoga is another fitness class we offer. This is on also at the Seven Hills Recreation Center for those 15 and up. At times we've offered this outside with our hike club in the past, but right now it is offered inside. You can move to the next slide. And so then from moving from our weekly offerings, we do have a lot of different programs that we offer to our families and participants to be able to connect to recreation in the greater community. We offer a lot of different family events and inclusion programs. In the past, we've offered kind of try-it events to be able to go and work with different community partners to be able to go and try out a program and see if it's right for your child before committing to necessarily like 6 weeks of programming, helping families to learn and see what works for their child, or, hey, we might not be ready for this program now, but these are the skills we need to be able to work on in the future. We offer a lot of different family programs in the past. So pictured right now is we've gone and visited the Cleveland Vikings and gone to some of their basketball games. We've gone to Indians games in the past, as well as offered family pool parties and a few different things. I think on the next few slides, I'll give you some information about some programs we have coming up. So we can go to the next slide. So as I said, we've gone to Indians games in the past, and we do have one coming up at the end of the month on Sunday, August 29th. We have a lot of tickets that were very generously donated to us. We are giving away 1 ticket for an individual with special needs, plus 1 ticket for a caregiver to come with them. If you win tickets, you are able to purchase additional tickets for additional family members to come to the game. I believe on this it says, okay, the 13th. We kind of extended the date to enter. So if you are interested in going into a lottery to win tickets for this event, there's an email address on there to be able to enter into that drawing. So you could hopefully attend an Indians game with us. I think that's everything on that. Yep. And then we also have been offering a variety of different family programs and family pool parties. We offered one this past weekend at the Garfield High School, and we have one coming up at the Seven Hills Recreation Center. This is at their indoor pool, so you can see the information on there. We have an RSVP that is available on our website. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to find out more information as well as to register for that event. And I think that might be it for us. Thank you so much. If you go to rectoconnect.org, you'll find more information about our programs as well as to be able to register or email any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Erin. All great stuff going on throughout Cuyahoga County and surrounding areas. So last but definitely not least, we have Jimmy Abraham, who's the athletics coordinator for Youth Challenge. And at this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Jimmy, if you could sign on here, we'll get started. I'm going to simply get you going here so you can, so you should be able to share your information and log on.
Hey, Ashley, it won't let me start or start my video.
Okay.
And that's okay, but.
Well, hold on. Oh, there you go. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
There it is.
Maybe Zoom is just a tad bit delayed here.
Okay, so there we go. Is
right.
everything working?
Yeah, I think we're all set.
Great.
Right. So once again, welcome Jimmy Abraham from Youth Challenge.
Awesome. Well, hello everyone. My name is Jimmy Abraham. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am the athletic director for Youth Challenge, and I've been with YC since early of 2019. And since then, it's just been so grateful to be able to be a part of this wonderful organization and be able to get to know the staff, the participants, the volunteers, and the community that is Youth Challenge. And so with that being said, Youth Challenge was established in 1976. And Youth Challenge is a nonprofit located in Westlake, which provides adaptive sports and recreation for kids and teens with physical disabilities, which is very similar to what you all have heard from all the other various programs. But what's particular to Youth Challenge is that we pair participants with team volunteers who inspire each other through these adaptive sports and recreations and other social growth activities. And it's really about the socialization which takes place through our programming. And so our programming is typically from ages 8 to 18 years old. We do serve participants who are from 4 to 8 years old. And then we also have programming for people who are 18 and older. Now, the participants and people that we do serve are those with physical disabilities. And those are the ones that we mainly see are cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, spinal cord injuries, those who have hearing and visual impairments. However, sometimes there are those whom you wouldn't know there was any limitation that they had. And others, there's a lot of hand-over-hand assistance that may be needed for programming. So there's a wide range of disabilities and abilities that are present within our programming that YC provides. And so speaking of that programming, our adaptive sports, we do try to provide as much adaptive sports as we can. There's a long list of what we have done and want to do. And so there's a brief list of what we do. And, I'll just speak to this picture here. So in this picture, we have one of our participants, Sarah. Now she's competing in a sport called boccia. Boccia is a sport specifically when you want to compete competitively for those with cerebral palsy. Now there's many classifications as is with much of the adaptive sports. But Sarah, when she first started off with Youth Challenge, as with most people, sometimes sports, specifically adaptive sports, can sometimes be a little bit intimidating or somewhat hard to approach because there is some hesitancy because it's a new sport. You're with a group of people that you might not be too familiar with. I know I get that way sometimes whenever trying out something new. So most of our Ps and volunteers, whenever we do programming, the sports or adaptive sports that we do provide are more recreational and try to be fun. And so when you do come to Youth Challenge, a lot of the sports that you're going to be seeing are ones that are inclusive to many abilities. So specifically our wheelchair basketball program, typical wheelchair basketball is played with those are in manual wheelchairs. If you come to a YC wheelchair basketball program, you're going to see people in regular manual, athletic wheelchair basketball frames, but you're also going to see those in power wheelchairs, wheel assist wheelchairs, those in walkers, and those who are ambulatory. So it's one big hodgepodge of people coming together and trying to play a sport that, they're interested in, or, they just want to be able to have fun and play a sport that's of an interest of them. And one of the things that sticks out to Youth Challenge to me is one thing that's not listed here, and going back to what I had mentioned about maybe not particularly being so enthusiastic about trying a new sport or a sport that is adaptive, is what we try to do at Youth Challenge is get to know the participant and the individual on what they want to do. So one of the things that isn't listed here is esports. And so hopefully in the fall, we're going to be trying to start our own esports program. And selfishly, I'm big into esports. I love video games, my hands up in the air. But that the motivation for wanting to start that program wasn't selfishly because of me, but was because there was a level of interest within our participants and our volunteers who said, hey, you know, my interest doesn't quite lie in sports or the traditional adaptive sports. It might be in electronic sports or esports. So what makes Youth Challenge is there isn't necessarily an immediacy to wanting to hit the ground running and participate competitively in an adaptive sport, but rather see how we feel. Are we interested in it? Do we have fun? Are we enjoying ourselves? Are we finding out more about who we are and who we might want to be? And what can we do to be able to find the necessary resources in achieving that goal? And so speaking of maybe not so much adaptive sports, we do offer a lot of arts. Megan Smith, our arts director here, she's fantastic. She's been doing amazing work at Youth Challenge and with a lot of the other organizations here. I know specifically the Beck Center, I hear them a lot. Me and Megan, we share the same office. But what we try to do is, you know, again, for those who might not be interested in sports, a lot of them, you know, we do offer it to them. A lot of people, participants do sign up for it, but we do see a good majority of our people, our participants, you know, take an interest in the arts. So we do performing arts, dance, theater, ceramics, cinematography, painting, one of which that is enlisted here, which is definitely an art to me, is cooking. But there's a wide variety of programming specifically to arts that are made available if you come to YC. And the amount of items and projects that our participants and volunteers have taken home with them that they've made at Youth Challenge, it's hard to keep track of. And it's something that I really get excited for, even being the athletic coordinator, to see the creativity that is inspired through our participants and our volunteers working together to create a cinematography piece, a short film, is very cool. And so just to get a scope of sort of the programming that we do, apologies for the compressed image here, but there's a lot of what we want to try to offer. So for YC, we offer programs all year round. Our programming during the school year is typically from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And during the summer, our programming takes on a camp-like feel. So our programmings in the summer are typically around the morning time, and then we have lunch, and then we finish off with afternoon activities to finish off the day. But this is our tentative schedule for the fall. As you can see, there's a wide variety of activities that are going to be offered. We have football, we have music masters, and then we also have different variety of games like goofy games, virtual fitness, virtual game night. And what I'm very excited for is, as you look over here, our soccer game with Empower Sports. Now, Hulu Sports isn't going to be streaming this live. However, admission is free. And a big thing that we like to do at Youth Challenge is, you know, you come to Youth Challenge, you try out programs, you find out what you're interested are in, and you'll find this to be true with a lot of the other panelists who have presented here today. We all help each other out. We want to be able to refer different participants and individuals who we see a lot of potential that could be had. And, you know, we want to work with whomever we can and see what we can do. And so, you know, we work with Empower Sports, Recreational, the Beck Center, wanting to do the best that we can to give each participant the most ample opportunities to find out more about who they are and who they want to be. And so part of that, as I mentioned before, is the socialization. And that socialization really comes a lot down to the volunteers that are present at every single program. So our volunteers, we have over 400 active volunteers throughout every season. So that changes throughout every season. And a lot of those volunteers form meaningful relationships with our participants that sign up for our program. Typically it's one-on-one, but there's a lot of volunteers that come to our programming. Sometimes you'll be 2 volunteers to 1 participant. But our typical age range is from 12 to 18 years old, from grade school and to high school. And all of our volunteers go through a training session. So typical pre-COVID volunteer training session was a 2-hour training session once a week, where we went through a typical program and we were very exhaustive, and we went through every possible situation that might happen. However, I will say during COVID, our Director of Volunteer Services, Sarah Cooney, put together an amazing virtual volunteer training session that really went through in detail everything that you might want to know, either as a volunteer or a parent or a specific guardian of a participant that might be interested in Youth Challenge. I highly recommend checking that out. It gives such a great idea of what Youth Challenge is all about. However, a lot of our volunteers, typically what you'll see is they really take a keen interest in the world of adaptive sports and recreation. A good example of this is one of our volunteers, Lindsay. She's going to NYU for film. And a lot of what she's already worked on is wanting to advocate for the awareness of ableism in the community. And so much of that was inspired through her work as volunteering through Youth Challenge. And that came from not only talking with the staff here at YC, but most importantly, creating the relationships that she made with the other participants. And so many of our volunteers, we see them go back to a similar profession, working in the same field. And it's one, very encouraging for us as staff, but also the volunteer or the participants themselves to know that, a lot of the people that are going to be coming to Youth Challenge to volunteer, take this seriously and genuinely want the best for not only themselves, but for the participants. And so how does this all work? Well, Youth Challenge provides free transportation, no cost to participants, whether that be a pickup or drop off or a round trip transportation. We'll pick you up at your house, your school, or another desired location. We'll be there. And we do this through 8 of our ADA paratransit vehicles that we have here on location. Our services include a variety of different counties. A lot of what other panelists have mentioned here, we try to go all over the place. So it doesn't matter if you're all the way into Elyria or to Euclid. We have part-time staff who are trained through Youth Challenge on driver training. They go through a safety checklist and they're able to safely pick up and drop off and provide transportation to any participants who may need so. And selfishly, when I first started off at Youth Challenge, my favorite part of Youth Challenge was the van rides. It was a great way to be able to get to know the participants, what kind of music they liked, what shows were they watching. It was a great way to, trash talk the, different sports teams that, that we liked. It was really fun. And it's one of the best parts of Youth Challenge and the services that we have to offer. And then almost to the end of the presentation, so for the ages 18 and over, so eventually, we've been around for a while, and so we have a lot of people who are over the ages of 18 and older. And so what do we do with, our participants who are in that age threshold? Well, we have a program called YELP, which is Youth Empowerment Leadership Program. which focuses on independence and healthy social experiences in a group setting. So a lot of that is mostly, peer support. So a lot of that revolves around meeting once a week, either coming to YC or going to a different location in the greater Cleveland area and talking to each other about either a specific or focused idea or providing an outdoor recreation activity. And one of the highlights that I want to make note of is during this past year, during our Yelp programs, is we wanted to focus a lot on advocacy and knowing the power of your own voice. And that came to fruition in having multiple of our Yelpers or our participants participating in Yelp, utilizing Youth Challenge vans and going to voting for the first time. And so much of that was influenced and done through the talks that we had, not only interpersonally, but also with the staff and the volunteers and other Yelpers during our advocacy talk during last year and last Yelp season. So all of that is about healthy living, goal setting, and wanting to encourage one another. We also have what's called ACT, which is our alumni community team, which is for persons 25 and older. So this is sort of similar to Yelp, but more, recreation based. So there's a lot of outdoor recreation that we have been doing. We've been going to different spots in the metro parks, going for hand cycling or meeting up, eating dinner outside, grilling a bunch of hot dogs, whatever it is, but seeing each other. And so in this picture that you see here is one of our ACT members, Sarah, and this was during our outdoor recreation activities in Berea, where we went kayaking. And specifically kayaking, another one of the things that we, speaking of the collaborative nature of what Youth Challenge wants to do, this was with 3 trackers. And it speaks again to just wanting to work with one another and be able to provide the most opportunity for the persons who walk through our doors. So if you're interested or want to get involved with what Youth Challenge is and what we want to do, you can contact myself at the email listed below. So we can schedule a time to either check out a program or come to the facility. But if you want to get a good idea of who we are, check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and definitely go to our website listed below here, and you'll be able to find a whole bunch of stats and different numbers and videos and pictures and a lot of good testimonials about what we want to try to do here at Youth Challenge. And, I'm very, very grateful to be able to get to know, especially the other panelists here on the Zoom call tonight, get to know them and what they have to offer. And it's very encouraging to know that there's a lot of good people who want to help out and provide, the best resources that they can.
Okay, thank you so much, Shimmy. We really appreciate all that information you've shared about Youth Challenge and all the wonderful things that they're doing. We're so glad that you and the other panelists were able to come out to present this evening. At this time, I'm going to ask that all of the panelists please turn on their cameras and unmute themselves. We're going to invite questions at this time. I already see that we have just a few questions in the Q&A section, and I am going to start with Nadia K. Nadia K would like to know, what ages do you include at a sensory needs Sky Zone hour, so can't hear very well. So I'm thinking someone may have shared information about Sky Zone participating, some type of sensory friendly opportunity. Was that discussed by any of the panelists? Or maybe perhaps this is just a general question.
I talked about our sensory-friendly theatrical performances, not related to Sky Zone, though.
Okay.
So, but for sensory-friendly, we that's open to any age when those ballets are held. So our next one will be in December, and the next one will be in the spring. So, and those folks can contact me at Beck Center. So,
wonderful.
Hope that helps a little.
I'm sorry?
No, that's it. Thank you.
And Nadia, if we didn't answer your question, please feel free to use the raise hand feature, and then what I'll do is I'll unmute you and allow you to speak directly so we can get a clear understanding as to your actual question. Melissa T wants to know, do any of these programs provide transportation to and from for non-driving disabled adults? So, do any of these programs provide transportation to and from for non-driving disabled adults? And I believe I heard a number of the panelists talk about transportation services. So go ahead. I see some head nods. Would anyone like to start first?
Yeah, so Youth Challenge, we definitely provide transportation for non-driving adults. Now I will say, there is sometimes where we're familiar with people who have been coming to our programs who we know personally, who might be, 25 and older, who have had experience utilizing the paratransit system. And so a lot of what we want to do is encourage a familiarity and experience of utilizing paratransit and how that works, knowing, the timeframes of when to schedule and when to not. However, if there is a particular person, if it is a particular case where they don't have any experience working with paratransit, that is something, a conversation to be had. And so we ourselves are able to provide transportation. If it is a pickup or drop off or a round trip transportation, we are able to do that.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone else would like to speak on any type of transportation services available for programming purposes?
I'll just share at the board. As I mentioned early on, we do have community access specialists that if you are interested in independent related transportation, we could absolutely work with you and train you to be take independent transportation. We also work with paratransit and RTA very well. So if there are individuals who would choose to use that mode of transportation, we can certainly be of support to them as well.
Thank you, Janet. Anyone else would like to respond?
Sure. I'll just go ahead and mention, unfortunately, we can provide transportation to and from our weekly program sessions, but if you were to get involved on one of our competitive teams, we do offer transportation to and from tournaments.
Thank you, Brooke. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. We do have another question. Ed, next question. This is again from Melissa T. What COVID safety precautions are in place at these programs? So Jimmy, would you like to start first? Any COVID precautions there at Youth Challenge?
Yeah, so I'll disclose all staff at Youth Challenge are vaccinated. And we don't require vaccinations for any of our participants or participants' families who do register for programs. However, one of the precautions or protocols that we do ask for our participants and volunteers, specifically our participants, is that when we do provide transportation, if you are on a van, we do require you to wear a mask. Now we have limited our number or our program size to what it normally has been. Normally it would just be whomever is interested for a program, sign up. If you're interested, we'll send out our vans, and we'll put 4 participants on one van, and we'll have multiple vans go out, and we'll go to a specific location. Now, in the world that we live in, we've only limited it to 2 participants per van. And when you're in that van, both the driver and all participants must wear a mask. And when we are doing indoor programming, we do encourage all staff and participants to wear a mask. So in our programming that's coming up in the fall, we're going to try our best to do everything that we can outside. And so when we are outside and we are in a group setting, it is up to the participants and the volunteers' choice if they would like to wear a mask. It is not required, but if we are doing programming inside, we do require and encourage, or I should say encourage participants and volunteers to wear a mask if they feel comfortable with. All staff wear masks when doing programming inside with a group, and those are our procedures and protocols. Hopefully I got all those.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, Tom, go ahead.
I'll just quickly add to, we only recently this summer did we drop our mask requirement for our programs. So I think maybe I'm speaking for everyone, I think this is an interesting time where we may have to reassess what some of those safety protocols were, but at the peak of the pandemic, we had mask requirements. We have an electrostatic sanitation sprayer that we're using throughout the program to any shared equipment, and we tried to limit shared equipment, so we just gave everyone their own ball, their own bat. So then when we did have shared equipment, if the kids passed the ball to each other, we're sanitizing it with an electrically charged sanitation spray during every water break. We did temperature checks at the door. We did social distancing, obviously. And we had capacity limits on all of our programs. So we only recently lifted the capacity limits and the mask requirements, and we may be swinging right back to it even as soon as this fall. But as Jimmy indicated, and a lot similarly for us, a lot of our upcoming programs are outdoors, which are proven to be a little bit safer. You can implement distancing a little bit better. So we're kind of taking it day by day, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are. But ultimately, if necessary, we're very comfortable with bringing back all of the safety protocols and kind of going to the nth degree to make sure everyone's safe.
Thank you, Tom. Erin, did you want to add something about Rec to Connect?
I would say most of our procedures are pretty similar. We do send all of our participants health questions the mornings they are participating to find out if there are any symptoms, if there's been any known exposures for participants. And then if there has been, we ask them to stay home. We do rent space for most of our facilities. They are not our own facilities. So a lot of those procedures are left up to the facilities that we're at. And so as far as masks and things like that are kind of determined by the rec centers that we're at. A lot of it is also individually based. I have a few families who are still more comfortable with masks and face shields. So I still use those when I'm working with those clients. Most of our instructors in the pool are still using face shields and using masks on deck. Our outdoor program, similarly, we're not requiring face masks unless participants request it or prefer it. And we also sanitize our equipment between clients to make sure that we are keeping things as clean and safe as possible. And when we're in the pool in the public space, just making sure we keep as much distance between ourselves and other participants, other patrons in the pools as much as possible.
Thank you, Erin. Brooke, what are your safety protocols for COVID there at Adaptive Sports?
Ours are very similar to what everyone else has shared. This summer, we did drop the mask requirements, but we're continuously monitoring that status and are definitely willing to change if needed. We do heavy sanitation before and after practices, again with the shared equipment. Are not requiring proof of the vaccine to participate, but it's definitely encouraged. That's pretty much what everyone else has been sharing.
Okay, and Ed, with regards to the Beck Center?
We, excuse me, we have maintained masking all summer and will continue to do so into the fall. We were getting set to lift those restrictions and we decided to stick with them. So sticking with the masking in all art forms, vaccinated or unvaccinated, and for all age ranges, because we do have a number of adults in the building, but also a lot of folks that are under the age of 12 in the spaces. Hand sanitizer is everywhere. We are following what some of the schools are doing and going to the social distancing of 3 feet as best as we can. And we know that that's as successful as you can possibly be in trying to keep everyone distanced there. So that's kind of where we're headed this fall. And even in our dance studios, we have blocks marked out on all the floors to keep the dancers in their space instead of across the whole space as much as possible.
Thank you. Our next question is from Morgan. Do any of these programs provide transportation for volunteers? Any programs that provide transportation for volunteers? Okay, Jimmy, go ahead from, Youth Challenge.
So typically, Youth Challenge only provided transportation for participants. However, in this past year, with limited numbers of volunteers due to circumstances with COVID, there were a limited number of volunteers, particularly around the east side. So we have opened it up, transportation to those volunteers on the west side that might be needed to go to programs on the east side. So we are open to any volunteers who are really interested and who want to make a difference at any particular program. So for us at Youth Challenge, if you are a volunteer, if you do sign up, complete the training, if you're ready to go and you register for specific programs, but you need a ride to a specific program, Youth Challenge is able to provide transportation for volunteers to said program.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone else? Programming provides transportation to volunteers. Okay, we have another question. What if a child needs one-on-one? Is this something any organizations will provide? So if someone needs support, one-on-one supports, any of your organizations provide that support? Excuse me. Ed, it looks like you wanted to go. Go ahead.
I'll jump in. Sure. So we have one-to-one music and art therapy sessions, and our adapted sessions can also be one-to-one. And sometimes the goal can be moving someone from one-to-one into one of our groups or something that's not adapted, but we definitely have the one-to-one opportunities, music therapy, art therapy on a weekly basis. And those sessions are usually 30 or 45 minutes in length.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Anyone else providing one-to-one supports? Go ahead, Erin, from Rec to Connect.
Several of our programs are one-on-one in nature. Our Aquatic Therapy and Adapted Aquatics programs are both begin as one-on-one, and we work towards being able to be in a group program. We also offer one-on-one physical training and not group fitness because it's one-on-one, but one-on-one fitness and yoga programs. If we're able to fit it into the schedule, we do offer those programs as well. And our bike program is also one-on-one. Sorry.
Thank you. And Jimmy, looks like you want to say something from Youth Challenge?
Yeah, similar to Erin and Ed, we do offer what we call individual sessions. So this came about during COVID when we limited our capacity to our normal programming. We wanted to give the opportunity to limit just a one-on-one opportunity for one participant, one volunteer, and one staff member. Programming at YC. So those programmings range from art all the way to adaptive sport and fitness. So if you're interested in weight training, you can come into YC for an individual session for weight training, wanting to pursue a particular goal. If you wanted to come in and pursue art, you could come in with Megan and she would meet with you and you would figure out what you might want to do, whether it is, you want to do anything with us, or if you might want to be referred to the Beck Center or go to the Museum of Art or whatever it is, we would try to see what we can do. Or if it was an adaptive sport, if you were interested in doing adaptive basketball or football, if you wanted to come to YC for once a week, but you wanted to try something competitively, we would do our best to not only try to give you the best training and opportunity here at YC, but then also try to refer you to a team like ASPO at Adaptive Sports Ohio.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we do have a hand raise here from Amy. So Amy, I'm going to go ahead and give you, ask you to unmute yourself, and we can go from there. Amy McGlynn. So feel free to unmute yourself at this time. It looks like you have a question. Okay, maybe perhaps that was an accident. If you do have a question, please feel free to raise your hand again. We do have another question in the Q&A section. Does the Beck Center have music therapists that are able to go to group homes and supported living homes?
We sure do. Yes, indeed. We provide those services to several group homes on the east side currently, but we're willing and able to go to those homes to do those. We've done one-on-one at homes, or we've done groups with the folks there, provided the space is possible. And we, service-wise, we will set up a contract with folks for as many months as they would like. We try and do a calendar year, of course, but we'll make it work in the best way possible for an organization. And we can do evenings, weekends, during the daytimes. I know, of course, if you're talking group homes, most folks are going to be out in the community, so evening is definitely a possibility for us as well. And we'll work with the staff there to come up with the schedule, make sure the fees work, and then also work out what some of the goals and objectives are for the program as well.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Isabella, for that question.
Yeah, excellent question. Okay. Anyone else? At this time, we're still taking questions. If there are any more questions for the panelists, please go ahead and submit at this time. If not, we'll be finishing a tad bit early, but that's good too. So I'll just wait a few more minutes just to make sure.
Ashley, I'd also, just while we're all waiting for any potential questions, I don't want any of our participants to feel like they have to remember or commit to memory exactly what particular services each and every one of these wonderful providers offer. We are working behind the scenes to generate one large list of everything that all of the providers offer, what age, what side of town, what time of day, so that we at the board will maintain all of that information. So rather than having to look through a PowerPoint or comb through a website, if my contact information is right there on Shared Virtual Community, if you've got a question as to what any one of these providers offers, feel free to contact me directly and I can let you know and I'll link you up with them directly.
Thank you so much.
As they've all said, this is a group that works very well behind the scenes. There's a great collaborative group. So it's just a fantastic being able to be a part of it for sure.
Excellent. This question is for Ed. My family member lives in a senior housing. Can you provide visitation to the type of that type of facility for music or art therapy?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we can. So we're glad to go wherever clients may be. We've worked with some nursing homes where we provided some contractual work and then went and saw individuals. But we've also gone just to a singular nursing facility or senior housing facility just to see one single person in that place. So even though we're not contracted with, senior housing ABC, if a family wants us to go see just that one individual in that home, we're happy to do that too. Sometimes the one individual visit offsite just to a facility like that, scheduling gets a little trickier just because of the amount of time, but the scheduling for everybody on the screen, scheduling is always an interesting exercise. So we do our best to work with the family to meet their needs. So absolutely would be glad to go to senior housing for sure. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for our panelists this evening? Okay. I do have something I'd like to share here just with upcoming events. We'll just scroll down here. so that I can just share this with you. Obviously that didn't work the way I wanted it to, but current slide. There we go. There we go. I do want to share with you guys, we have 2 more webinars coming up for 2021 Planting Seeds. Next month, we will have IT equals independence in technology. So if you had an opportunity to attend last year, you were in for a real treat this year. Last year, we took a tour of our CLE, which is our custom living environment that is at our William Patrick Day Center, where we essentially have created a living environment equipped with all types of high-tech and low-tech technology to support people to live more independently in the home. So we actually had a video, and we had our specialists go around and talk about the CLE as well as the different devices there. And in October, we will have a segment on managed care. For those of you who joined us last year, we did a combination of managed care and Social Security. However, because it was so compact and we listened to your feedback from the surveys last year, we decided to separate the two. So this year we will only have someone, a representative, to speak on Ohio managed care. And as you know, it's during that time in October, fall of the year, where they actually have the option for people to essentially switch care providers in the sense of as it relates to managed care. So some people may find that confusing, but we'll have someone here to present to share a little bit of information about managed care and how that would affect your loved ones. So those are the last 2 webinars for the year. If you have any suggestions for 2022, I would love to hear from you. So please feel free to include that on the survey information when you receive it later this year. Also, you will receive a survey again to complete, and you'll receive supplemental information in addition to that survey, the information that was shared here today. So I will essentially send out these presentations in a PDF format for you to take a look at. So no need for you to jot things down. You should have you should be able to find contact information within the document, and I will also include the presenter's information as well in the email, so that you will have a direct link to access our presenters this evening. So just want to make sure, I think I may have seen one more question. Wait, it looks like it went away. Let me just make sure. I thought I saw it and I don't. Oh, here it is. Do you accept family resource funds to pay for program? Do you offer program involving animals, for example, horses? So this Rashonda wants to know, do you accept family resource funds? And by that, I believe that Rashonda is asking about our family supports program. So with the panelists here today, does anyone, and I think Ed, you also responded to that question as well. So Ed, could you just, verbalize what you've shared?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. We do accept the family resources funding. So I know folks have to go through the process with the county board to get approved for that, but we do accept those funds and work closely with the county to make sure that we're keeping track of what funds families still have, what our costs are, and oftentimes we're coupling family resources or the NEON or wraparound funds from PEP with some of our own financial assistance or other grant funding that we have to help folks out where possible as well.
Okay. And for those of you who may be interested in our family supports program, I will also include that contact information as well in the follow-up email, so that if you have any more specific questions, you can reach out to Janice Phillips, who provides the supports for our our family resource program.
Absolutely. And if you check out Shared Virtual Community, you'll see Fieldstone Farms on there. They've been a long-time partner with us. They offer adapted and accessible therapeutic riding, hippotherapy, summer camps, carriage driving, barn and classroom programs, as well as an alternative high school. So check them out.
Okay, everybody, it is 8:28, and I think we've We've answered all the questions. So again, I just want to thank all of our panelists for joining us this evening. I want to thank all of our families for coming out to get this information. It's great information. Hopefully you'll tell a friend about Shared Virtual Community and all of the different panelists and their programming that was shared today. Again, I will follow up with you later this week with an email. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.